When you look at Italy, Spain the other night, the starting 11, and across the back there, they have Di Lorenzo, of course, Bonucci, Chiellini, Emerson. We know that Spinazzola has gone, so they're going to be weakened by that. But we look at Bonucci and Chiellini, and you thinking Chiellini at his age, similarities with you. You were what, 35 when you were camping? You
35, 9 months. He's 36 and 9 months.
He's 36.
So you can't be what he was.
You weren't the player you were.
No,
right.
And it seems like there's an understanding of that in the Italian culture, that they like their senior player. We talked about Baresi and Maldini in the past, and they want that person on the pitch because of the benefits he brings. But there has to be a slight weakness in his game. Moratti, in the last game for Spain, he found that weakness, but it was 908 passes that Spain had in that game, and only one was able to unlock the door. So England need to get pace in that central area if they can, because Bonucci, neither of those two players are really noted for how mobile they are. But the trouble is they work incredibly hard in front of them. They really, it's phenomenal the amount of work that goes in front of blocking, of creating a screen and stopping the ball getting into that back line. And then of course if you can get past Chiellini, then you've got that goalkeeper, how we've talked about, Donnarumma, is magnificent. He's probably the best goalkeeper we've seen in a long time. Yeah. So, but it's a lot of, bravado. He's not got the wheels. He's not got the pace anymore. Chiellini.
Yeah. What's he relying on?
He's relying on when you're as an older player. There is a period in your life when you still have enough mobility, but you have the intelligence now of seeing everything in the game, that anticipation, you know where to be on the pitch, and he very much knows where to be. Now, occasionally, he doesn't even bother to run with people. When he's out of position, he doesn't want to run. He might be worried of injury. He did pick up an injury in this competition. He's come back from it. He missed a couple of games, but he's come back and he's slotted in beautifully. And it's the respect he gives to the team and the importance. And both of them are like two skippers at the back of that vessel, and they know how to steer that ship through, and they've navigated themselves through all these various games. That was an incredibly difficult game against Spain, and they'll be trying to do the same. But we can expose that. But we need to get Sterling into that area, into that central area. We need Kane. It's interesting, Mourinho is saying he needs to get Kane coming deep. I think he needs to go up against them to occupy them. And we need some distance between their midfield line and their back line, so we can get that pocket, we get Sterling in there, but we also can get in and around and get round the back of them. I expect Saka to play. There's some talk maybe Grealish starts this one. I'm not sure. But we do have the firepower to win the game. I mean,
Chiellini, dare I say it, is Keown-esque, is he not? In the way he
can't
goes
compare
about
myself to in terms of style. I was very hands-on, shall we say. I was a contact player, and he's a contact player. I mean, people should actually look and see how he uses his body. Body checks people. He does it very well, and he does it with disguise. But he's not fooling me. He can't be the player he was in his early 30s. He's had a cruciate that he's come back from. He's 36 years of age, but he knows enough to protect himself, and that willingness to want to protect himself protects the team, because he gets everybody around him. The core of the team's not in any way in any trouble, and that's been quite brilliant in the way that they do that, both of those central defenders.
So what does Kane do to get the better of him?
Well, I feel it's about positioning, about occupying them, and about getting then Sterling closer and get Mount closer. We need to get Mount more from Mount. So Jorginho is a player that will dictate the play, so Mount needs to sit on him. But we also need to, in the build-up, when we're trying to climb that ladder, we need him to come deeper. Not Kane, we need Mount to come deeper to gain possession, and then let's get on the half-turn and start to play. So once we get into the final third, we do have the ability. It's just that first step into midfield, because we're quite safe with Phillips and Rice. A lot of things go backwards and sideways, but when Mount comes in there,
they were
I think we can.
They
were, and they do a very good job.
Phillips and Rice.
They do a very good job, and that's not. We often look at what people can't do and what they do, and we're very clear in this team that they've been outstanding. The next step is for us to be a little bit more creative in that midfield.
Yeah,
and we're going to have to be, and we're going to have to be brave on the ball, because they're going to test us. They're going to ask us the question, can you control and can you pass? And we're going to have to stand up to that, and I believe we can. But once it goes into that midfield mix, you've got to be ready for it.
So does the England midfield overcome what they've got? So you've got Jorginho, either side of him, Verratti and Barella. Is the England midfield up to that? Better than that?
I think it is. I think that's where this game's going to be won and lost, because I think our front three are better than theirs. I think Insigne is a real talent. Chiesa's direct. He's going to shoot on sight. So the directive has to be get tight to him, otherwise he'll punish you. I think he scored 2 goals in the last 3 games, not scored a lot of goals before that. Immobile wants to be on the shoulder, so he wants to stretch the game. But you have to make sure that rotation with Barella, he's underrated, Barella. He gets forward really well. And Berardi might be the one who plays instead, because Berardi, he's another player that's left-footed, plays on the right wing instead of Chiesa. So they've got good options like we have in the final third, and that's going to be important.
You don't like the phrase master of the dark arts, do you? I mean, Chiellini is that.
But I think these are all important things. You know, he puts a bit. He's always holding someone, but he's disguising it so well you can't really see it. He gets away with it.
Yeah.
Who's
that make you think of, Simon?
At set pieces, he's very strong.
Yeah.
He's really strong, and we need to time. But I think we've got that with Maguire. Now, we've not spoken about our central defenders, and we should be, because I think those two have been immense, Stones and Maguire. You know, as Tyrone Mings came in and did well, exceeded my expectations, in fairness. But these two now, they boss it. They've got a really good partnership, and it's one that we can build on for a number of years.
Has GW got a point here, Martin? In the Spanish game with Italy, didn't think Donnarumma looked all that comfortable when the ball was crossed. Every now and again, looked slightly shaky. I mean, you could say that about Pickford, couldn't you? Or could you?
Pickford maybe is the one player that we just need to settle down, and just to remind him how good he is. I thought he was carrying a lot of weight in that game late on. For whatever reason, I could see the 2 centre-halves screaming at him to give us the ball, and he didn't want it because it might come back. Well, that's just, that's fine. He's realising the enormity of where we are. He can't. It's just a normal game. You've got to somehow put this in a box. As difficult as it is, every TV channel you put on now, you're sat in your room, every radio channel is talking about this huge game. And you've got to get into your routine, and you've got to love it. And you've got to believe that you deserve to be there. And in Pickford, I just saw some question marks. He doesn't need to. He's breaking records, the clean sheets he's keeping, but he just needs to refocus. And I'm sure he'll get that from his manager, because his manager's first class at recognising when the players need his help.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.